Hi there. In this video, we'll be covering how to get motivation for writing. Getting and keeping motivation can be the difference between finishing your project and never finishing at all. By the end of this video, you will learn how to tap into your purpose, how to make incremental progress, and why you shouldn't beat yourself up during your writing journey. And stay tuned until the end of the video for an opportunity I really think you're going to enjoy. Let's dive in. What's your reason for writing? Maybe you just want to write. Maybe it's to document something for your family or for yourself. Maybe it's to pass a story down. Maybe it's to write a book and generate leads and opportunities for your business or to become a thought leader. Anything. You need to have some motivation to want to write. And maybe just the desire to write. I don't know. It could be anything. But you want to have some motivation, because otherwise, what's the desire to keep going? If you have no motivation and the challenge is high, and the challenge is certainly high with writing, you're going to want to quit. You're going to want to give up if you don't have a reason to keep going. So you're going to want to have to do it for something. I remember my news reporting days, and I worked in newsrooms a lot of times overnight, and I would go to work and have to write all day. It was all night, really, because I was working overnight. And it was such a weird thing, because there's those days where you show up and you're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be here. It was rough, at 4 a.m, thinking like, do I really want to write this story or not? And having to make the decisions for myself. But ultimately, I'm so glad I pushed through, and I'm so glad I kept going with that, because it helped me tap into my motivation when writing. That there's this drive, this inner drive to just keep writing, to keep writing, to keep writing. But ultimately, you want to write things that mean something. For those newspaper days, I had to for work. But a lot of times it's for us inside. This is the motivation, that this is some sense of accomplishment, that this is some inner drive, that there's something deeper here. It's a balancing act, because you're writing for you, but you're writing for your reader. It's ultimately this juggling thing, because there's a desire inside for you to want to write, but then think about the reader. What's the reader benefit for reading your writing? What's the reader benefit for your story? You don't want to write just to write. There's this goal of being read by somebody, to learn something, to teach somebody something, to share your message, to help somebody. Whatever the case may be, you really need to figure out what that motivation is, and you want to recognize that it can be such a rewarding thing to write, and there's a different side of it, the reader side, that somebody's going to take something away from this and carry it forward with them. And you need to understand what that is. If it's the motivation to keep going, if it's to be inspired, if it's, you want them to sign up to work with you, to be a client of yours. Whatever the case may be, writing is a balance of the writing need and the reader need, and finding the marriage between them. When you're motivated to write, your writing's better. I can feel it myself. I will write things that I am obligated to write for work. I'm working with clients, and there's something I don't really want to work on. I can sense it. Again, same with my newsroom days. There are those moments you're like, I don't really want to write this. You don't want to feel that way. You want to feel empowered. You want to feel excited to write. Writing's an awesome thing. You're documenting a story. You're sharing a message. You're leaving something behind. It's great to be able to document stuff. It's great to be able to get things down. And it's great to write in this timeless way. Whatever it is that drives you, you really need to figure out what it is, and use that front and center. Use that as the motivation, the fuel to keep going. Because again, there's going to be those days where you don't want to write, but you want to write anyway. You want to keep going with it. A big part of staying motivated is incremental progress. Rome wasn't built in a day, and a book, a story, whatever, it's typically not written in a day either. Like, these things take time. They take time, they take effort. They challenge us. Over the course of writing, you're going to want to give up at some points. You're going to question yourself. Am I the right person to write this? Am I good enough? Are people going to care? Is this any good? Does it stink? You need to be able to push through those things. The motivation helps. Having that inner motivation will take you so far. You really need to start seeing gains, wins, even little ones. You want to see little bits of progress, because that's going to keep you fueled and motivated. Say, I'm making progress, I'm building momentum, I'm doing something here. The more you can have those little wins stack up, the better it's going to be, because now you're seeing progress happen. You're looking at the number, the word count going up. Now we have 4,000, now we have 5,000, now we have 6,000. This isn't just about piling words on top of each other, but making words purposeful, of telling important stories, of making the words count. When you have that motivation and you have the fuel and you have these little wins piling up, great things are falling into place. It's so easy when we're writing to beat ourselves up. It's so easy to feel imposter syndrome. It's so easy to feel like maybe we don't belong. I felt that way across my career at different points. Am I good enough? Do I belong here? Am I worthy of telling this story? You get to the point eventually where you're like, you know what? Just got to keep going no matter what. Maybe you're not good enough. Who knows? I don't know. Who says? There's no one that's gatekeeping to say this is or isn't good enough, that you're good enough or not good enough to write this story or write this book or whatever the case may be. A lot of people lose faith, they lose momentum, they lose hope, and then they put their writing aside. They never finish it. It's a shame when that happens. It really is, You don't want that to happen to you. You want to push forward. You want to keep going. Don't give up. Don't give up with your writing, because there's a great story in you. There's a great story to tell. There's a great message to share. You don't want to live with that regret. The biggest regret is not publishing and not writing. There's also the regret of writing a book that's not finished or not ready, of putting something out there that's not fully baked out. And that's a problem too. Like, you want to give this the patience and the time and effort, but it's such a big regret when you don't write the things that you need to write and you leave things unwritten. Don't do that. Don't leave things unwritten. Keep writing. Keep believing in yourself. The more that you write, the better you're going to get. It's just a matter of time. And that's not to say that you're going to get there all the way by yourself. That's not to say that you don't need some help. And that's where the other thing to keep in mind is, so many people who end up writing books and becoming very successful, they get help along the way in some capacity. I work as a book ghostwriter, and I work with authors directly. I help them write their books. We meet consistently. We talk back and forth. It's a collaborative process. They have the control over the process. I provide writing to them, and then they provide feedback, and we go back and forth. But we talk through all these things and put forward the best writing possible. And it's great to be able to see their message coming alive. They're the thought leader expert and the subject matter expert, and I'm the story expert. So when we bring those things together, it's the most powerful story possible. Some of the people I work with might never finish their book. They might get stuck, or they might write a book that's not that good. They know it's not that good. They know it could be better. So if you're in that point where you have something written and you know it could be better, maybe it's a matter of working with somebody. Maybe it's a matter of getting some outside support and help. And, maybe it's a matter of finding a different way that, there's the motivation to write yourself, but then there's always outside support that you can bring in. There's no shame in that. And it's an exciting, thrilling, awesome process that can really bring about new levels of understanding of your story. If you can unlock your story in a new way by getting that support and help, who cares? It's awesome to be able to get there. You might not get there yourself, but you can get there with the help of somebody else. And, I would keep an open mind, because your story is worth telling. You want your story told in the best way possible, and you don't want to, diminish the story. You don't want to sell it short in some way. You want to tell the best story possible. And, working with a steady, seasoned professional can help you bring out the story in the best way possible. If you want to learn more about how to get motivation for writing, you'll definitely want to watch another video I recorded. I'll link to it on the screen. It's called, Is Writing a Book Worth It? In that video, I talk all about the doors that can open from writing a book and all the opportunities that can be created. Just such an awesome experience to be able to write books, and there's so many opportunities that are on the opposite side of that. Remember, a good book can change your life. I'm Dan Good. Thanks for watching.